Welcome to At Sixes and Sevens, where we explore between the lines of true crime and discuss the unexplained blurs in timelines. I'm Tommy.
And I'm Rio. Together we pull apart the threads of chaos in some of the darkest and most mysterious stories out there. Everything from infamous crimes to paranormal encounters that defy explanation or logic.
This is where the real meets the surreal, where cold cases clash with chilling folklore. Sorry, Swifties, not that kind. And every story keeps you on edge.
So whether you're into criminal minds or haunted places, join us where we explore the unsolved, the mysterious, and the downright chilling.
Welcome to the unknown.
Welcome to At Sixes and Sevens. So, today we're heading back to June 6th, 1984, a day that changed the small town of Greenville, Alabama forever. On the morning, 12-year-old Sherry Lynn Marler vanished without a trace.
Now, Sherry wasn't your typical kid. She grew up on the farm and loved the outdoors. Everyone in her town knew her as the quote-unquote little farmer, because she was always around tractors and ploughing fields. She didn't care much for school, but had a passion for farming. In fact, she spent the morning of her disappearance helping her stepfather, Ray Stringfellow, on their 400-acre farm.
My goodness, imagine having to
That's huge.
plough that, that'd take days. Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
it wouldn't take that long, I wouldn't suggest. If you know what you're doing, it'll be fine.
Well, to be fair, it's probably not like every single acre is farmable land. It's probably like forests and all that. It's probably like a mixture of everything. But she was known as like a tomboy in her school.
Oh, okay.
So that's like interesting. She was a farm girl. So.
Fact.
Yeah.
It doesn't correlate to the story at all. It's just a fun fact.
Fun fact. Yeah, we're just gonna tell you everything we found out about her. But that same morning around 9:30 a.m., Ray had to run some errands. Ray is Sherry's stepfather. So he had to run some errands in downtown Greenville. So he took Sherry with him. And when they arrived at the First National Bank, Sherry asked for some money to buy a soda from the gas station right across the road from the bank. Ray gave her $1 and told her to meet him back at his truck in 15 minutes, but Sherry never came back.
Ray immediately started searching for her. He even called Sherry's mother, Betty, who was working at the Waffle House at the time, to see if she'd seen her, but when Betty hadn't, they knew something was wrong. By around 11:46 a.m., Sherry was officially reported missing.
It's rather quick to officially report somebody missing, because usually it does take a while. It takes sometimes. I think, is there not a rule nowadays, like maybe in the UK, where it's like 24 hours or like 48?
Yeah, it's 48 hours over here.
Jesus Christ, that's a very long time for something to happen.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, that's the law. That's what they've said.
Very, very true. Like, the eerie part is, everyone like knows each other in that town, and to have somebody go missing at 9:30 a.m. in a busy town like that and nobody notice anything, it's weird, especially that a kid that's 12 years old knows what's right and what's wrong. So if somebody tells you,
well, you'd hope anyway.
Yeah, one would only hope. But if somebody tells you, "Oh, get in my car," your dad told me to pick you up, she'd be like, "No, actually,
sure, let's go for it. Let's go."
Well, that'd be
Sweet,
your answer.
free ride. Let's go. Yeah, see you later.
Back then it was like, "Oh, I've got a free soda." Nowadays it's like, "By the way, I've got free Wi-Fi." I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, free Wi-Fi, let's go." But it's she would know not to mess with strangers, especially that it's such a small town where she most likely knew everyone and everyone knew her. So just to go missing like that is it's bizarre. Like, what do you think?
Well, I agree in obviously every sense, but it does make me kind of think that was the person that took her, like the kidnapper, were they someone local were they someone trusted, or like were they someone at least familiar enough to know that no one would question their presence around them? You'd think in like such a small town that any stranger would raise a red flag because they're from out of town. They're not from within that community.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. And there's also the whole question of time. Like, she went missing in 15 minutes. You know, he told her to be back in 15 minutes. And after she didn't come back, you know, he started searching for her straight away. And in 15 minutes, that is such a short window for something like to happen.
I mean, there's not much that can happen within that time, but you can't have gone far in 15 minutes, especially if you're walking. Like, you can get at least what, like, I'd say half a mile if you're walking at most. Maybe 2 miles down the road, I don't know, in a car.
God, like half a mile walking in 50 minutes. You must be really
Oh,
focused.
I'm a speedy boy. I just
I'd see
speed past.
I'd see a butterfly and be like, "Oh, what's that?"
Be like, oh, I'm so distracted. It takes me like an hour.
Yeah,
But well, for
literally.
a normal walking pace would probably at least be 15 minutes. You could walk maybe a quarter of a mile then.
I'd say in 15 minutes, a 12-year-old could walk at least 15 minutes away from where she was.
Oh my god, you're so smart. I love it. Yeah, I believe that would be the right answer. Or they could jump. You never know. Hopscotch. There's so
That's
many ways of transport.
that is very true. Nowhere in the case does it not state that she had a pogo stick.
She just jumped away and boing, boing, boing. She was just lost on a roof. She couldn't get down.
That's it. And then some mad, you know, American eagle came and took her, and now she lives with the birds. Ah,
She became
anyways.
one with the birds. Jesus Christ. All right, okay.
Gosh. Anyways, the police responded quickly. They launched a search by air and land involving rather a large amount of police force and locals.
Mm.
But Sherry had seemingly disappeared into thin air as a bird would, you know?
Yeah, we're still sticking with this bird theme. It was definitely a bird that kidnapped her.
Absolutely. Have you ever seen Birdman?
Have you seen The Crow? Have you seen the Angry Birds movie? Like, anything could happen.
Oh my god.
It's just what is it? The bald eagle, the brave eagle from Angry
Yeah.
Birds just swoops down, grabs you, and go, "You're mine now, kid."
It's like the full conspiracy theories of lizard people. You know, you've got lizard people like oh, Barack Obama's a lizard person, all that. Well, you never know. Sherry
What
could
about
have
the eagle people? Where's the representation?
Yeah, what if it's not only eagle people? What if she turned into a pigeon or something? Like,
What about Dr. Doofenshmirtz? Here's my pigeon ray.
this is my pidgeometer.
Pidgeometer. You're measuring pigeons. That's right. I think we're getting too off track, right?
Oh my god. Oh god, poor Sherry. But the case initially focused on Ray, her stepdad,
Mm-hmm.
being the last person that obviously seen her, allegedly. But he was later cleared as a suspect. Ray and Betty even refused polygraph tests, which
Oh,
fueled local gossip and speculation.
I mean, if you refuse a polygraph test, that clearly means that something's suspicious in the slightest. You wouldn't just refuse it and go, "Yeah, no, I'm good." Like, you are almost not by law, but you're forced to take it because you need to get rid of them as suspects first. So,
Yeah,
eh,
no, absolutely. It is bizarre, but then again, like, there's a lot of people that don't believe in the polygraph test, including
mm,
a lot of court systems. Like, most of the time, a polygraph is not admissible in court. So, you know, in their minds, it
yeah,
could
because they're
be.
not foolproof, are they? Like, they're not actually 100% all the time.
Yeah, no, exactly. So they could have in their heads, we're going to do this polygraph test, and it's going to, come back saying that we lied when actually we told the truth.
Yeah, but and to be fair though, from what I've read, that the police did clear both of them eventually,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still we're going back to the refusal. It does leave a lot of people wondering, like, what, why? The whole question here is why did they refuse it? Because obviously they clearly weren't in what's the word? Not innocent. Guilt. They were clearly weren't guilty. So you know, it's one of the oddest parts of this case, but we've got like several more as well, which we'll continue to talk about. Like, the next one is about how many people have reported sightings of Sherry after the disappearance.
Right.
One of the witnesses themselves claimed to have seen her with an older man, out of all the people, around 50, I think they said,
Jesus
with a
Christ.
weathered complexion. I don't know what that means.
Oh,
Like, are they
it's
tanned?
so the reason I know what a weather complexion is because in GTA, right? In GTA
Oh
roleplay,
god. Oh.
right, when you make a character, it gives you an option to, add weathered complexions, which is basically like really bad acne scars or all
Oh,
that kind of stuff. So, when
got ya.
you see people that have like kind of almost like holes in their face,
Mm-hmm.
it's that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, might make sense, but they saw them at a truck stop in Conley in Georgia. I just butchered that. I'm so sorry, Americans. We are British, so you know. Another sighting was placed in New Orleans. She was kind of disheveled and distressed in both of the cases, but she kept on calling the man BJ, like the initials BJ, which that's not the best name that you want to have.
Mhm.
But none of the sightings were ever confirmed.
That's
They were kind of
that's
speculated.
interesting, because that kind of proved to us that it's a stranger and not really somebody that she knows. Because if it's somebody that she knew, she'd call them uncle, or if it was her actual dad, which we know it isn't because it was being deemed as a non-family related incident. So the entire family was cleared
Mm-hmm.
from the birth dad to the birth mother, stepfather, all that. Um, but
He
if it
could have
was,
faked his own death.
it's very true. Um, but if it was somebody that she knew from the tank, surely she would call them like their actual name, like Arthur or Jeremy or something, rather than BJ. So it's as if that man has told her,
Mm.
call me this. You're not getting to know my full real name or whatever.
But at the same point, if you've been kidnapped, you're not going to call the person by their first name and just bait them out, are you?
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
they're going to want them to call you, well, they're going to want you to call them a certain name, or they'll kind of get it into your head
Mm.
that they are this person, they're called BJ and nothing more. Like, you have to think of, she's only 12, so she's susceptible to a lot of things,
That's very
and
true. Easy to brainwash.
you know, exactly, like, there's so many ways in which they can brainwash her.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing that actually kind of boggles me or fascinates me is that
Mm-hmm.
there were multiple reported sightings of this same man that all describe the same man with a quote unquote weathered complexion, older, around 50s, with Sherry looking, confused and all that. So, how
Mm-hmm.
come the police didn't, kind of train the dots together, and get a line of where they were going, where they were coming from? So, for example, if they were sighted in one town and then sighted in another and then sighted in another, surely there's a line going to, where they're going to go next. I've seen enough, crime documentaries and all that. You with the red string across the map,
Mm.
So it's
Smacking the board, going, "Where is he?"
yeah, literally. You want to see a magic trick? Oh, that's the Joker.
Yeah, that was so wrong completely. But yeah, no, I do agree. It is strange, like especially in public places like truck stops. But that could also mean that at the same point they're always on the move, so they could be moving from towns to towns and going
Mm,
in different directions, so you can't really determine one singular spot.
yeah.
But if she was calling him BJ, does that mean she knew him well enough to
Well,
use a nickname? Does like that
exactly.
idea come back?
That brings me back to the eerie theory of, that some victims
Oh, I
don't
like that.
fight. Yeah.
Eerie theory.
I know, right?
Hmm.
But it's the fact that some victims won't fight and look as if they're in distress, even though she looked kind of confused and disheveled or whatever. People
Hmm.
might not have drawn direct attention to it just because okay, a kid looks confused because it's a new place. They're not going to draw attention to the fact that who they're with. It's like, oh, it's kids that confused, so let's just ignore it. And then later on, when they're asked, they're like, actually, yeah, we did see that kid with that person, um, but they didn't want to call it in right away just because she trusted that person, and she didn't look like she was in danger, which is terrifying to think.
Yeah, that it all comes back like in that cycle again, though, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
mm.
Gosh, it's all the theories are currently like flooding my head right now. You're probably the same. You're picturing them at a truck stop walking like right next to each other. She's kind of like looking around. I've got this picture very clearly in my head.
Nope,
Oh,
my brain is just blank.
well then we can tell who's the more creative one here.
I'm just like, I mean, this could have happened. It's not going to because I'm a
Mhm.
realist, but yeah.
Well, it's like when somebody's telling me a story, or if I'm listening to
Hmm.
a podcast or something, I have a very, very clear picture of what's being said in my head. So if they're like, yeah, I walked down the street past a yellow car and this building wasn't around, and I passed this person, like I can generally see that as if it's a movie in my head.
Hmm. I mean, that's oh, there's a word for it, but I can't remember what it's actually called. It's like it's not wishful thinking, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I know what you're trying to say, but I can't
I,
remember what
I
the
know
name
what
of
you
it
mean.
is.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't remember. But anyways, in more
Hmm.
recent years, a local woman called Ryan Anderson, yes, local
Wait,
woman.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say a woman named Ryan.
Yes. I've,
American in their cultures. Damn, let's go.
it's
Very
interesting.
progressive. We'll give them that. Yeah.
Um, thank God we clarified that Sherry was a 12-year-old girl at the beginning, because people might be confused.
Yeah,
Sherry is a
true.
boy. Anyway, a local woman named Ryan Anderson has conducted her own investigation into Sherry's disappearance. She's like us. She's like an armchair detective, She's like
From the
all of
back seat.
yeah, literally all of you listeners out there as well. It's the person that kind of sits at home, or um, does investigations from their phone, laptop, computer, whatever, from the comforts of their own little personal space, rather than actually being in an office and doing it
Hmm.
properly. So Anderson believes that Sherry may have been a victim of a pedophile ring connected to
Oh.
local families. Yeah,
Oh. Very cult-like. Let's go.
I know, right? But none of this has been officially verified. Once again, armchair detectives, so it's all
Mm-hmm.
speculations and theories. Uh,
Rumors and theories. Yeah.
exactly. I'm not saying that armchair detectives are bad or wrong, because the amount of
They're
cases,
great.
absolutely, this is why we're
Yeah.
doing this. We want to get these kind of cases out there for um everyone that has an interest in digging into files, or like just searching further than the first page of Google, because if you do that, you can find something and you can bring it to the authorities, because the amount of cases that have actually been solved through people finding that little bit of information that somebody may have missed. So armchair detectives are amazing, and they really, really do help cases. But Anderson has even shared disturbing photos she claims are related to Sherry's case, though the
Ooh,
authenticity of these photos has been questioned.
I don't know about that. Like, why would you share disturbing photos? Or where did you get them to begin with? Like,
Well,
how do
apparently
you
she
know?
got them from a suspect's family. This suspect's name, I believe, was Bill. Oh gosh.
But the
Anyway,
thing, no, but
we'll get
it
to
does.
it.
It brings up the point of how did that family get them
Exactly, and why was it not brought to the authorities, and why was it shared in a
straight away?
Facebook group?
Yeah. Well, no, Facebook wasn't around in like 1983, was it?
No, but it was shared to a Facebook group afterwards, because Anderson is
Oh yeah,
more of
true.
our time. So Anderson's
Oh okay.
investigations started in a Facebook group, and that
Oh
is,
wow. Okay.
yeah, it's bizarre of why that specific platform and not 999 or 911.
Well, because Facebook is pretty dark, regardless. But as well as
Very
kind of her
true.
Facebook post, all her claims themselves are very dark. If you actually
Hmm.
like look into them, she's done some real digging, like deeper and deeper and deeper, just dug that hole straight. But without corroborating evidence, we can't say for sure how much of it's accurate. It could have
Hmm.
been lies, it could have been made up. Um, but I think just the idea of a pedophile ring, especially in like a small town, it's absolutely kind of horrifying. Just to even think about. You don't want to think about that specifically.
No, exactly. And going back to what you said, it was a small town where I grew up in a small town. So everybody knew each other and everybody kind of trusted each other. At points, if a neighbor wanted something, they wouldn't knock on a door. They'd come in and they'd all be welcome. We'd all be so close that we would trust each other. Um,
Yeah. It's like
so
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. You just walk in, you'd be like, "Yep, I'm jumping in the bed now. Let's go."
literally, or you burst through the roof with a flying elevator. Um,
Casual
oh,
stuff,
is
Chill Friday nights with my elevators. You know me.
yeah, exactly. But no, it's the horrifying image of a small town where you trust everyone, and then all of a sudden, behind a curtain is such a deep, dark secret that is just, you can't even comprehend it. Honestly, you don't want to think about something like that going on in your community that you trust and you love, and they're like family. Small
Mm.
towns are like one big family, because most people are related. You have your cousins and aunties living 5 minutes away from you, and then you grow up with
They've got their
everyone.
families, and then it just keeps on going around in a circle, and it's like
Exactly.
everyone's friends, everyone's families. They're related somehow,
It's
even if
like
they're
one
not.
big incest party.
Godfathers. Oh God, no. Well, I mean that's Alabama. Oh wait, it is Alabama, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry for the stereotype, but it is Alabama, so
I um I do
we're gonna get
apologize.
hated. Yeah, I was gonna say people from Alabama are just gonna be like, we're not like
Okay,
that.
no,
Um,
the accent as well. Um,
yeah.
sorry, back in 1989, not now.
Hmm.
Oh gosh. Right. Going back, tell me some theories that have been going around.
Oh yeah, I like this one actually. So theories themselves range from the stranger abductions, like we were discussing, to
Hmm.
family involvement, which it was cleared, but the truth remains elusive.
That's
Um,
true.
Ray passed away in 2003, but he still maintained that he had nothing to do with Sherry's disappearance. So he was absolutely cleared. Sadly, though, he did die and pass away in 2003. Betty, though, she's still alive and continues to search for answers, hoping, obviously, that one day that Sherry will still be found, because at this point in time, in 2024, Sherry is still missing.
What I was just thinking about there is that you said that, the family's involvement remains elusive, and Ray passing away in 2003. So, I guess we will never know if he was involved or not. However, if he wasn't involved and he was genuinely like, I kind of want to say, um, falling apart kind of thing, because you do everything to help and find her, and he passed away in 2003, so he never got the closure that every family needs, and it's horrible
No,
to think
like,
about it.
with the information and with all of that, he literally took it to the grave.
Yeah.
He took everything with him, and it wouldn't be nice just to. Well, we don't know what he passed away from, did we? Or was it just age?
I'm not too sure.
We'll have a look into it, but like, you've got to deal with a lot of things in life, and then you've got to deal with that your daughter's missing, and then just he's like, "Yep, no, I'm hit. Hey," and then just, bleh.
Yeah.
It's not what you need to. It's not what you want to hear.
I hope that Betty, Sherry's mother, does get some kind of closure at some point in her life, in a near future, hopefully, because as someone who has went through a family member, a very close family member, going missing, no matter how much time went by, all we did is think about every single possible outcome. We, my family would go to fortune tellers and not shrinks, but like all these people that you would be like, yeah, give
Spiritual.
give us this much money and we'll tell you where your daughter is and whatever. It was all bullshit.
Well, that's extortion, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. But then at the same time, it's kind of like a business, because my family went to them and they'll be like, yeah, they'll pay them, and then the fortune tellers would be like, oh, I can see something dark, and then my family would be like, yeah, this person went.
Yeah, it's a gravestone. God.
Yeah. Anyway,
I feel like I'm not crapping on them, but I feel like that's just extortion, because it's not truthful evidence. It could be entirely wrong. Like, the person could be underneath the house just searching for a stick or something and got stuck down there, and they'd be like, oh no, they went to a theme park and just had the time of their lives and then passed away. And I'm like, it's not truth.
No, it's
which a lot of these
true.
theories aren't, but
everything
I think
my family got told was BS. It was not true.
Yeah.
And I really hope that in the future there's less and less of the fake ones, because there's absolutely real ones out there, and I do believe in them. But going back to Betty, Sherry's mother, I hope she gets closure, because the pain that she has to go through every day, even though it's been 89s, that's
40 years ish.
Yeah.
Well, 30 to 40 years.
It's been a long time. However, she still feels exactly the same that she did, a week, a month, or a year into Sherry's disappearance. So going back to what you said, that Sherry's case is still open, it indeed is, and despite all the media attention over the years, including a feature on Missing Part 3, Have You Seen This Person, no substantial leads have came to light. The small town of Greenville has never fully recovered from this loss, especially that it was, small town, so they lost one of their own.
I mean, she must be like 40 or 50 now, surely, if she is still alive. But I think overall it's one of those cases where it feels like there's so much potential for like a resolution or someone to be found, but nothing ever materializes or comes to light realistically. The sightings, the investigations, the disturbing claims, all the years later, I think it's just all out of reach. Um, and there's some parts of the puzzle which are still missing.
Yeah. But it makes you like wonder, and it's annoying with cases like this. You know, did anybody ever come close to the answer, or did anybody actually come close to finding Sherry or solving the case? Like, were they literally round the corner from where Sherry was looking for her? It's stuff like that. You know, you turn your head left, but she walks past you on the right.
Mm.
It's
There's so
it's
many things that could have been missed.
yeah, literally like. So if someone out there knows something and they're just, not coming forward because they're scared or they just don't know that they have to come forward. And that's a thing with a lot of these cases. The point of getting media attention and getting these cases out there is so that people can actually see it and be like, oh, actually, I know something about this, but I didn't know that it's vital information.
Well, anything is any information at all is vital information, even if
Yeah.
it's wrong. Like it doesn't matter if it is wrong, because at least you can say that you tried.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you just sit on, you sit doing nothing. You've got all of the information in your head, or you've got evidence of it. You don't submit it, and then nothing ever happens with it. So, hmm,
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know. It's just frustrating, I think.
it's annoying because we can all have our ideas, our theories, but we just never know which one's right and which one is wrong.
Hmm.
So, what do you think? Who was involved? Who wasn't involved? Like, what do you think actually happened to her? What's your theory?
Well, in at this point in time, obviously, I don't know the full story, and I don't think anybody does, but I still think that there is a possibility that there was some sort of connection with the said stranger, BJ, and Sherry. I don't know how, but obviously it's a small town, like you said. Like there's so many things that saying a stranger would have raised a red flag, and
Mm-hmm.
we've even seen that the gas station was literally over the road from the bank. It wasn't. It was literally like a 2 minute walk, if that. So
Yeah,
it's a bit
like
like,
you could
mm,
easily, without being good at throwing baseballs, you could easily like toss a ball from one door to the other.
oh yeah, a person with no arms would be able to do it. There's no ableism here, like, but
Yeah.
seriously, it's Abbey Road. You can walk over the road, you see it, and it's right directly in front of you. There was no
Mm-hmm.
windows to the bank, which, well, there was, but it wasn't facing the gas station, which is a
Yeah,
bit.
and the
Mm.
windows in the bank that were facing the gas station were like lobby ones and staircases and all that. So it's not where somebody loiters at all times.
There was also no CCTV in that kind of time. Like, not well, there probably was, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah, and
Um,
not in that small town where
no,
nothing
definitely
really
not.
happens.
No. So it's like there's so many avenues you could go down and say it could have been this, it could have been this, but my personal bias is that some sort of connection was there with Sherry and BJ.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he kind of just wanted to escape and get away, so he was driving from like truck stop to truck stop. Didn't really have a home or like a place to call home. Could have been in an RV or something. Um,
But then
a
again,
motorhome.
like if it was somebody they all knew and that was from the town, would people in the town not notice that somebody's kind of disappeared at the same time as Sherry? They're like, oh, where did you know BJ from down the road go? Like we've not seen him in weeks, or we've not seen him around town. Where is he?
That also does bring up the question that if anybody in the town had heard of a man called BJ or had the nickname BJ,
Or
something
even
like
the
that, or
initials.
initials, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it brings up so many things. You'd be like, wait, I know a person with those in it. It could have been him.
Boris
Or,
Johnson.
oh no, God, dude. What was Boris Johnson doing in Alabama in 1983?
That's a
Just
question the
question
police
him.
should ask him.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, I'm not going to lie.
Oh well, nothing does
He
nowadays
seems
with
like the kind of
politics.
man that would kidnap someone, yeah.
Anyway, we're not doing politics. I'm just
Oh,
going to
no.
quickly rewind to
Mhm.
talking about Miss Ryan Anderson and
Oh,
the
yes.
photograph she shared, because even though she's an armchair detective, I love covering what armchair detectives discover, posts, say, or even have theories on.
Hmm.
So Ryan Anderson posted pictures allegedly, going back to the pictures that
Yeah.
now this is a slight viewer discretion. This is going to be graphic description of
Oh,
what was in the
let's. Oh.
photos. So if you are squeamish of any sort, you know, I'd say mute the podcast for 15 to 20 seconds. I'm just going to say it and we won't talk about it in graphic detail. We'll talk about it, but we won't talk about it in graphic detail. So I'd say mute it now and then unmute in 20 seconds. So she posted pictures showing a severed human head on
Oh.
a pig farm.
Oh.
These pictures were apparently taken in 1984, and the alleged photos were obtained from the now deceased, um, you know, man's family that was allegedly involved in the murder and
Wait, so the man's like the man who took the picture passed away the next year or in that year.
I think he just passed away. It doesn't give me a time frame of when he passed away. However, the man that
Hmm.
took the photos and on whose land the photos were taken on passed away, and the family of his obtained the photos somehow and allegedly passed them on to Ryan Anderson. However, going back to there's no actual proof that these photos were Sherry or anybody, even though you could technically say there is a face in the photos, but we don't know which way it's facing.
But I'm guessing it was probably very, very disfigured.
Yes.
Because it was,
Yeah.
well, severed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Did they give that to the police, do you think? Like, or
I have no clue. I've tried
with an
to
image like that, you surely would, because why would you just take a picture and go, yep, this is
exactly
going on the Instagram? Like,
exactly if
no.
you look at that photo and think, huh, yeah, that's definitely wrong, but I'll keep it for personal sakes. I'll use it for clout on Facebook, to get more Facebook mums to like and repost my post,
Aw, my granddad was so quirky.
Right. God.
He was a serial killer in his time. Like, oh,
Hashtag
no.
throwback to the 1980s.
Oh,
Like
goodness.
hashtag back in the day. Yeah,
But
it's
wait, so you said it was a pigsty or something to do with a pigsty?
a pig farm. Um,
It's always pigs, isn't it? It's
oh
not
yeah.
cows, it's not horses, it's always pigs.
Well, that's because cows are vegans.
Hmm.
Cows won't eat meat no matter what. And then what do you call it? Carnivore pigs.
Yeah, yeah, carnival.
So pigs will eat anything that is put in front of them, basically. And that's how a lot of people, like a lot of cases that you've probably read or heard, include people getting rid of bodies and either chopping them up and giving them to pigs or an
Hmm.
acid.
It's always the case in like there's many like Netflix shows and many kind of if you look at even on crime podcasts and everything, it's always one or two of them. It's not major, but it's
Yeah,
always one or two of them which say the same
it's
thing. Like,
one too many
let's feed them to
basically.
pigs. Oh, it is. I think to have that mind or to have that mindset, you need to be very, very mentally unstable
Hmm.
or a quick getaway.
And I bet you's anything to everyone listening. I can bet you that at some point in the future, a case we will cover will include pigs again. And
Oh yeah, hands down.
I don't mean
I
include
mean, I was
pigs as
about to
in
say
like
hands down, but
um I mean include, somebody trying to get rid of a body using the pig method.
hmm I mean, we'll probably just have to do a whole podcast on that. Just
Oh my
what
god, I
happens?
know,
Why
right?
does it happen? What happens after? Like a
Yeah, just
biology lesson.
right, just dig into how the pigs actually eat the bodies, how they
Mm,
digest them, and then how the police can actually find DNA or bone fragments after the pigs have
desecrated them. Yes.
yeah,
Let's not think
yeah.
about that. Let's get back to the topic,
Yeah.
shall we?
Got rid of it from their body after they found no further use for it, basically.
The waste.
Yeah. Um, but, our theories are as good as your theories, and all the internet, no matter how much you read into all
hmm
these cases, we want to leave it up to you to decide what might have happened to Sherry Lynn Marler. Was it someone she knew, as many of us suspect, or was it a complete stranger? Was it a complete, wrong place, wrong time kind of thing? But I guess, it could have been a complete stranger who just slipped through the cracks in a tight knit community and went unnoticed, and nobody really saw anything. And just, kind of went, huh? What was that? What happened?
Oh, that
But
wasn't perfect. Yeah.
but as always, we want to hear your sides. We want
Oh,
to
for sure.
know what yous have found, because we just want to scratch the surface. Where any cases we cover, we'll try and cover it from A to Z. But
Do our research and put everything in there.
yeah,
But we'll also, well, not just look at one particular cases from a side. We'll look at your cases. So if you've ever like witnessed or been part of or heard of a kind of a weird, not a weird, but a spectacular crime or any paranormal activity, then just send it to us. We've got a whole Reddit page, we've got an Instagram, we've got so many like ways that you can contact us and drop your stories in there because we'd love to just get you guys involved as listeners and maybe even as not host but people to come on the podcast, have a talk about your experiences, and then go further from there, I guess.
absolutely. We want this to be as much of your show as it is our show. Um,
hmm
we're not here to make a movie or a TV series. We are here
Well,
to talk about other people's experiences, whether that's your experience or an experience that you have found and you
hmm
want to talk about. Because, the stories that you want to post, the true crime stuff and the disappearances and unsolved mysteries, yes, we want them factual and we want to see the sources. However, if you want to post a paranormal story that you just, one day made up
my
and
favorites.
literally, then
hmm
absolutely, we'd love them as well. Um, so you can find us on reddit.com/r/at sixes and sevens. You can find the links
Very easy.
to all our media in the descriptions. Um,
If you watch it on YouTube, it'll be in the links below.
exactly.
But either way, as always, well, for now anyway, Stay tuned for the next episode of At Sixes and Sevens as we explore more unsolved mysteries.
And please don't forget, if you have any information on Sherry Marler's case, please reach out to authorities. Her family is still searching for closure, and you could be the key to solving this decade-old mystery. We'll see you next time.
I mean, will we?
Oh, don't disappear on us now.